everyone to a new episode of Glamour Woman, where we introduce to you a platform of women that had great and many journey in their life. In today's episode, we will know more about our guest, but we're going to head to our introduction to know more about her, and then we will introduce her to you afterwards.
Engineer Aisha Budustur began her career at the Ministry of Public Works. She started her work as a trainee engineer and then as a site engineer with Motorways Department from 1987-1994 on Ghazali Motorway and first in 1996. Engineer Aisha Budustur founded one of Kuwait's first local geotechnical specialists from May 2000 up to date. She is the major shareholder and chairman of Kuwait Bruckner Construction Contracting. Aisha's awards and certificate to Kuwait Bruckner Gene Contracting in recognition of outstanding commitment to quality and excellence, which merits the International Gold Star from Quality Award. Certificate for commitment of Kuwait Bruckner Gene Contracting to quality.
And we're back, dear viewers, after our introduction segment. With us, we'd like to welcome Engineer Aisha Budustur. We're really happy to have you here.
Nice to have you too.
So, Engineer Aisha, of course, when it comes into your journey and all of the success that you had in life, we would like to start talking about what hit it all. Like, let's say, what started all, what triggered Aisha in choosing engineering as her specialty and her field and starting your whole journey? Was it a passion you had it from the beginning, let's say, in your life, or it just, let's say, happened by coincidence?
No, nothing happened by coincidence, by the way. From the beginning, I was always trying to live my life as a different person.
Yes.
And my father, he encouraged me to go into engineering college, and I started studying engineering. And when I graduate, I didn't want to be just a normal lady engineer who just sits in the office doing design or whatsoever. So I insist to be on the site. I worked in the beginning with Federal American Highways in Ministry of Public Works, and I was as a site engineer. And this is how I started my journey as an engineer, and that leads for so many things afterwards.
Yes.
In my engineering life, when I started, I didn't want to be just a normal engineer. I always wanted to learn, and I have a passion for what I work and what I do, and I love what I'm doing. So my target was to learn. Whatever I do it out of passion. I try my best to learn everything because I wanted to be a good engineer. I wanted just when I sit in a meeting, I can understand what others saying. So not only what they say as a terminology, but technically,
Yes.
I understand the dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
And that needs a lot of work. And when I started in Ghazali Motorway. And at that time, my boss was American. He said, "Oh my God, I was working for 25 years. I've never saw such a project that has all the icons and all the technology that I didn't have it all over 25 years of career." When he said this word, I thought, oh my God, I am in a very challenging project. Then it's time for me just to go and to work and to try to understand each and every single activity in this job.
Yes.
And that's how I started. I was working in the morning, and then I go in the evening for if it needs to work in the evening. If they have detour opening at night, I go at night. It was just like, I don't want to stop working. I just work. And my family atmosphere was helping me. My husband, he was supporting me, and he's an engineer too, so he didn't say, no, you don't go outside at night or whatsoever. Yes. So I start to gather and have a bank of information to make me a good engineer. Mm-hmm. And during that time, I have a business. I did a business. I
Yes.
started my first business.
Now, this is something really important because people do say working as an engineer means that you are going to be busy for your whole life, coming from work, bringing your work at home, thinking of your work and the sites and everything. And as you just said, so many heavy, let's say it's a heavy duty that stays on your shoulder that you need to be very precise and perfect. But on the other hand, you also, as you just mentioned now, thinking of a passion aside of your work. So this is what we would like to highlight for the audience, that if you have the passion in you, it doesn't, let's say, never keep a job and your life, let's say, ahead, that you cannot actually pursue your dreams and try it more often to reach them. So tell us more about, let's say, that story about you're having your own, let's say, job. Yes.
It was not a very successful story, but I all my life I tried to juggle more than one ball in my hand. So I was working as an engineer, and then I thought, oh, if I love my passion is fashion.
Yes.
I am a woman and I love fashion. So I have to start a fashion business and it will be very successful. So I started a fashion business and I really enjoyed it. It was very nice to go and attend the fashion shows and everything,
Yes.
and to order. But after 4 years, it was not a successful business. It was an interesting business for me, but it was not a business that I can say I make money out of it or it's a successful business. So then I became I studied the whole thing and I said, oh, I did a mistake starting this business because, okay, I have a passion for fashion, but it's not a good business for me. And I have the courage to say, okay, I will stop it. I will close this business.
Yes.
I don't want to go through more losses. And also, it's always good to know that what doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. So for me, I start to know the role of the game. If you want to go and do a business, okay, it's not only to have a passion, but also to know the market. To do what the market needs. So this leads me through my career working in the ministry. I was on First Ring Road and I saw this new technology. They did it the first time in Kuwait. It was like in Ghazali motorway and in First Ring Road. That was in 1980s, by the way. And the new technology, it's ground anchors. And I see all my bosses, the American bosses, they say, this is the first time we saw such a thing. It's a geotechnical engineering. So I said, oh, I'm going to learn also how to be a geotechnical engineer. And I start learning about it. And I sit on the site with the workers and everything. Though I am MPW, I am a ministry. When the Federal American Highways men, they left, we stayed with the ministry. So I start learning. And then the time came when we finished First Ring Road, after the invasion, all the expats that they were with MPW, whom they take care of this activity, they just left. And I was just a trainee site engineer at that time, and we have an underpass that is full with water because all the pumps were stopped, and it's a technical thing. The groundwater rised up.
Yes.
So they said, who knows about anchors? Who knows about Aisha, you are the one who would come and study this and do the study in this. And it was for me a challenge at that time. With the team, of course, I was not by myself. There were consultants, there were staff of MPW. We studied the whole thing. We have a target, not to have a time extension for the project. It was just after the invasion. We don't want to put more costs on our government to replace all these things. So we were successful to retain the old thing and to accommodate it in the new structure for the future.
Yes.
One of these companies, whom they were a specialized geotechnical company, is a German company. They are the pioneers in the world. They were thinking of closing their branch in Middle East. So the Middle East manager, he came and he talked to me. He said, Aisha, we want to sell. We want to sell our branch in Middle East with the equipment, with the name, with everything. And I thought of it. I cannot see someone who is more interested in this business and who knows this business to buy it. If you buy it, it will be a successful business. Then I thought, oh, how can I buy it? I don't have money. I just work. I'm a young engineer. So I went and I talked to my father. And then when I talked to my father, I said, Dad, I want you to help me. I want to start this business. He said, did you do a feasibility study? I said, yes, I did it. He said, do you think it will be a successful business? I said, I think, but I'm not so sure, but I want to start it.
Yes.
And I asked him just to help me as a loan. I didn't want him to spend his money on me, but I want him to support me, so I started.
Something you will give it back once it starts to stand up.
And this is how I started the business. And it's now 26 years since I started it.
Yes.
And now you can tell that Kuwait Bruckner is one of the leading companies in Kuwait as a geotechnical engineering contracting company.
And we're really glad to hear about the story. And as you just mentioned, sometimes people do say failure in the beginning as a way that you cannot reach, you cannot, let's say, go ahead out of it, reaching to the positive and see the positive way of failure. In this story, we learned that failure is just a first step for success. And this is something really important for everyone, of course, who is watching us, that we should believe in ourselves. Maybe we would fail 1 time, 3 times, 4 times, maybe even 10 times, but there is a way from this failure that we face to let us, of course, reach towards our success and dreams if we believe in ourselves. Now, working as a woman, and mashallah, especially in a field that is actually competitive, whether for men or women, everyone wants to prove themselves. Everyone wants to show what they can do and have that ability itself. How did you find it when it comes into being in a men's world and challenging, let's say, being one of the, let's say, first women that wanted to work in sites, fields, and so on?
It was for me, I always like to be like a pioneer, let's put it this way. And for me, I think of it, I break the glass. I break the glass for the other ladies to start something. That if you love something, don't think that you are a female. In engineering, there is no male or female. And there was always, when I have meeting with some big engineers, names, signature names, they always look at me as a female. And one time, in one meeting, I was very frustrated because there is this committee, they have to study my company to qualify me for a job against international companies, and they look at me as a female. And he said, oh, you would be excellent if you teach in the college or something, because I did for them a demonstration of my work. And then I told him, listen, there is no such as male or female in engineering.
Indeed.
I am an engineer. You deal with me as an engineer. If I do any mistake as engineer, deal with me accordingly. But don't tag me as a woman. I'm a woman, yes, but there is no gender in career. This is what I think.
Yes, and I really agree with you on that point, especially that, as you just mentioned and highlighted, that this is something, let's say, we don't have to think about it through gender, because it is a job at the end. You were actually presented and working, let's say, in this field, not because you're a female or you're a male, but because you're actually having that passion to work in the field itself, whether it's challenging or easy or even hard. So, of course, we're going to continue more with you in this interview, of course, but dear viewers, we're going to head to a short break and then we'll be back.
Hello, welcome to our segment. Today we will talk about the routine of skincare. Great skin is not simply a matter of DNA. Your daily habits, in fact, have a big impact on what you see in the mirror. But depending on which product reviews you read or doctors you consult, There is a dizzying number of opinions on everything from how to moisturize to how to protect yourself from UV rays. Ultimately, caring of your skin is simply personal. Here's what you should keep in the mind to sort through all the noise. The first step of routine is the cleaning. Washing your face is the most basic and essential step of any routine, says the New York City dermatologist Dr. Carlos Charles. Our skin comes in contact with environmental pollutants, dirt, and other facts each day that should be gently removed. Wash twice a day, morning and night, to avoid clogged pores, dullness, and acne. How to use toner. For many, the word toner brings to mind stunning astringent from the 80s. The original was alcohol-based product that was used to dry up oily skin and remove any leftover dirt following cleaning. Today's formulas, however, have evolved. Think of the theme supplements. These thin liquids deliver an extra shot of nutrition, helping the other products in your regimen absorb better, while still balancing your complexion. Alpha and beta hydroxy acid to gently remove dead skin cells that can clog pores, improve sun damaged skin, and minimize dullness. Hyaluronic acid to boost hydration, seal endogenous and plump skin to subtly treat fine lines. Rose water and green tea to calm irritation and reduce redness with an anti-inflammatory effect. Vitamin E and C to fight daily exposure to free radicals that can age your skin. Treating with serums. Simply put, serums are powerful skin allies filled with concentrated doses of active ingredients. These elixirs can mitigate a number of issues from dark spots to wrinkles. Even if you don't have any specific issues, everyone still needs a general antioxidant serum in the morning to protect from daily. Even if you don't have any specific issues, everyone still needs a general antioxidant serum in the morning to protect from daily aggressors. Hyaluronic acid to steal in hydration and strengthen the barrier function to prevent moisturized loss. Vitamin C to help brighten dull skin and decrease dark spots with continued use. Hyaluronic acid to steal in hydration and strengthen the barrier function, the top layer of your skin, to prevent moisturized loss. Vitamin C to help brighten dull skin and decrease dark spots with continued use. Retinol, vitamin B3, peptides to stimulate the production of collagen and elastin, protein in the body that help prevent lines and skin sagging. Retinol, vitamin B3, peptide to stimulate the production of collagen and elastin, proteins in the body that help prevent lines and skin sagging. The most basic function of a moisturizer is to hydrate and soften the skin. Essentially, moisturizer assents to preventing water loss through the outer layers of the skin. Doctor says they can also complement the naturally found protective oils and other building blocks within the skin, such as ceramides. This is one product that doctor recommended using year-round for all skin types. Skin naturally loses the ability to return moisture as we age, and daily activities such as washing can strip natural hydrates from the surface.
And you're back, dear viewers, to continue our interview with our guest, Engineer Aisha Budastur. Engineer Aisha, when we're talking about the family support, of course, it is something really important to have all of the support that we actually need in order for us, whether, let's say, to start a business, to keep on going in our job, especially when it's more of a hectic job that needs more time and more effort. So talking about you, Engineer Aisha, as a woman in this challenging field, and especially a woman not only in engineering but also in site engineering, how was it when it comes into the idea of seeing men always thinking that a woman should work, even if you are, let's say, we are invading the men's world and entering engineering and everything that is actually, let's say, related to men, but even when it comes into the sites and the fields, they still do argue that you shouldn't be in the field. It's better for you to stay in the office since you're a woman, and especially as we can mention and highlight, being a mother needs for you to be with the children and staying at home and etc. when it comes into that matter. How do you see that world? Did it change so far, or is it the same?
It is changing. I would say it's in the process changing, because for me, the way I see it, there is no label for a type of work or a type of career.
Yes.
The label, we put the label. The people, they put the label, because, for example, what we label here that is only a men's work, in another country, it's not only a men's work. So in our let's say, community, or in our traditions, or in each place, people, they label things. And if you accept these labels, you will be stuck and you will be marching in your place.
Indeed.
I never label anything. And I don't like to label anything, because for me, the sky is the limit. If you love something, you should go for it. And you will achieve, because it needs only a determination, it needs a hard work, and it needs someone to be courageous enough to say, okay, I break the glass, I will start it. There is nothing, if you don't, there is always a first person or a first step. You cannot reach anywhere without moving forward. So
Yes.
I consider this as moving forward, one of my moves forward.
Yes, and that's the most important thing, of course, to highlight to the audience, that wherever you find a passion, wherever you find something that you love, you could actually use it as a power to move forward, of course, and of course enjoy the journey of it. I am very sure that it was a very long, let's say, journey, mashallah, and even ongoing, being a wife, being a mother, dealing with your kids until, let's say, mashallah, now fully grown. I'm sure about
working.
that. So yes, so it really, let's say, hits you when it comes into remembering the hard times. Of course, being as a mother, and especially also engineer, the kids do feel, let's say, sometimes tired, sick, you're thinking of them when you're at work. So it is something challenging, but it is something, as you just said and highlighted, if you love it, you can actually move forward in it, and of course balance it when it comes into that matter. Now today, if we want to talk about Engineer Aisha as a mother, as a woman who's actually, let's say, off site and off work, what do you like to do in your free time, in your leisure time? Is there a kind of hobby that you actually like to keep in mind, and of course keep it with the family itself?
Yeah, I still love fashion designing. This is my hobby and
yes.
passion. Also, I love jewelry designing. I love to do charity work, and I join so many charity groups
Yes.
for doing charity, going to the camps and for refugees, and do these things. This is, for me, I love, because also life is not only about what you do and your achievements and everything. It's also life about is what you give for the other whom they are unfortunate or less fortunate than you. And if you give also, and you see the happiness and you see the joy on these people, or even the children in the camps, you really get an inner peace and happiness, because you feel that, okay, it's not to be a successful person in your business, but also you have to give something to the world. That's
Yes.
the way I look at it.
Yes, and that's the most important thing, is to also, as you just mentioned, and of course mentioning it to the audience, is always to remember these unfortunate ones, that you could actually, even, let's say, not by forcing yourself, of course, in something that you cannot handle, but within the balance itself, whatever you can give is something that you could actually think of, and remember that you would bring happiness to these people who actually really need and help, and of course dealing with that is something really also gives us to the point where talking about a family and children. Do you actually, let's say, more of a plan, have a plan for them for the future, or did you, let's say, let them everyone choose their passion and dream? Because we see that parents do actually feel afraid and scared for their children and their future, so they think ahead. Which career do you want them to choose? Which field do you want them to be in? So did you choose for them, or you just let them choose by themselves?
No, I didn't choose for them. I just guide them. But for example, my elder son, he said he wanted to do industrial engineering. I just help him in his, and he chose the university he wants to study in the States. And we just supported him, me and my husband. And the same for my middle son. And also we helped him to do this, and my younger daughter, she likes to do data analysis and all these things, and everyone is different. I don't want them to be a prototype of me. Though I have to prepare someone to be my successor in my business. So I didn't force anyone, but at the time, my middle son, he was a graduate and he came to Kuwait, and I didn't tell him, come and work with me. And then I said for him, Ahmed, what are you doing? Are you still working with this company? He said, yes, I do for them studies. I said, but what do you do in your spare time? He said, nothing. I said, why don't you come to our company in your spare time and look at it? So in the beginning, I told him, oh, Ahmed, I want you to check for me my workshop, my inventory, my this. So I want him to love also what he's doing. And he started with me, and he took everything, each task, he took it seriously, and he knew that it's not easy. He has to learn a lot of things, and then he has to study the contracts and these FIDIC and many things, legally and contractually. And then I assigned, like, he do some letters, then he loves the work. And Ahmed now, he is working with me. My middle son is working with me. Though I didn't ask him, but I just guide him. Why don't you join us? Then my elder son, he was working with American company and consulting company. And then he changed the company. He worked with Monitor Group, then he worked with Tony Blair, then he came, and after he finished his study, he studied again in Harvard, and he came and he said, I want to start my own business. And the same story came to my mind, how I asked my father to start my business and how he supported me and helped me. So I supported Khalid, and we started another business with Khalid. And Khalid, he's taking care of the business that he started.
Yeah.
So he's doing also his passion. My daughter, she was a graduate, and she came and she wanted to do data analysis. So she worked with the bank, and she excelled in what she is doing. So for me, I want my children to do what they love, because if they do what they love, they will be excellent.
Yes.
But if I ask them to do something that I love, they will do what I love, and at some time they will get bored.
And they always say that you have to, let's say, guide them, as you just said, because sometimes when you force them, let's say, by asking them, they will feel it's something obligatory, they need to do it, they will lose the passion. But if you, let's say, somehow made, let's say, the mother persuasion and guiding them, you would actually, let's say, success in that field. And they always say sometimes it's better not to mix family with business, because these things actually do happen. But mashallah, it's really great to hear that somehow some of them is actually finding their ways, whether it's by their own business, whether also working with you, or also having their own passion itself. But there's the kind of question I wanted to ask you. Since you had your children and you were working in engineering and also having your own business and company, haven't you, let's say, once in a while took them, you had to take them to work, you had to take them to your place itself, or it never, let's say, just occurred to you and happened?
No, I remember only one time I took Ahmed with me, because he has an appointment with a doctor.
Yes.
And I was having some work to do it in the office, so I bring him with me to the office.
Yes.
I was doing my work, and then I have to go to a meeting, and I make him sit on my PC, and do something while I go for an hour and come back to him. And then one of my colleagues, he said, Aisha, I went to your office and I saw your son. He's like a pro on the computer and typing and everything. And he saw what I'm doing, and of course, and then we went for him. But I never
Normally,
took
yes.
my children to my work,
Yes.
because also in our work, it's a safety hazard place. At site, you cannot take children, but in the office, you can take them. Though my grandson now,
Yes.
I bought him all the kinds of equipments, the models of the real equipments which I have on site, and I get it to him because he likes to know about the trucks and everything. And I think he will be, I think so, because he loves all the types of
Yeah.
equipment. He might be a contractor, I don't know.
Why not?
We
Inshallah.
don't know. He's 4 years
Inshallah.
yet.
Of
4
course,
years
yes.
old.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it was really pleasure having you here and knowing more about you and your journey. Thank you so much for having us. We wish you all the best, of course, and success when it comes into your work and your life.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that was our interview, dear viewers.